Hi, I'm CJ Altenberg with Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado. We appreciate you tuning in. We know it's summertime. We know everybody's running around at Junior Nationals. There's still more to come, and then everyone's gearing up for state fairs and getting into the fall shows. So if you're in the market for a show cattle trailer, we got one behind us. It's pretty rare that these things are hitting the lot right now, but we do have one available. What this one is this is a 2023 Cimarron Stierwalt model sitting behind us. Now this one here is a Pro Series model. What we're looking at though is a trailer that we went ahead and did kind of some basic options, but then we kind of tweaked it a little bit. There's kind of some things over the last few years that we've really been doing to these trailers that we just continually build them for customers, and why not make them that way for the customers right off the lot. So we took a 24-foot model and we made it a 25-foot, and I'll get into the reasons why we did that here in a minute. But we'll walk you through this trailer on, again, some of the standard options and some of the things that we added on to this trailer. So one of the very first things is underneath the jack area, you'll notice that this one has a electric over hydraulic option rather than the manual. Look, this is a nice trailer. We understand that you're going to be loading, equipment up here in this front tack room. So with that, why not have this option here? It is, what we have noticed is a lot of people have equipment for the show and equipment at home. So a lot of these trailers are actually staying loaded. There might be a few items that we take on and off. So we have that weight on this front end of this trailer. So instead of manually cranking it up, we opted for this option here to just push a button and up and down this trailer goes. On these systems though itself, as you do have a manual override on these. So if you do get in emergency situations, you can physically get it off or onto the truck by pumping it on the side here. Very simple to do. Over to the left of that, you have your spare tire located there. To the right of it, you're gonna have your battery box. So we've got a battery in here to operate this electric over hydraulic jack. And then what started coming standard on the 22 models is your battery disconnect. That was something that we were adding to trailers when we were putting these jacks on them, just because we felt it had a lot of benefit. Because look, when you park this trailer, and if somebody leaves a tack light on, stall light on, load light on, something like that, it's gonna drain this battery down. And then when you come to hook it up, your battery's gonna be dead. And then you can't get this down on the truck without maybe jumping it, trickle charging the battery, even hooking it into the truck for a few minutes just to even get it set down. So with that being said, that became a standard option on the 22 models moving forward. But that was something that we have, again, we felt it had a lot of benefit to it, so we were adding it to it. So when you go to park this trailer, the last thing you do is you just reach in there and turn that off. That way, if somebody did accidentally leave a light on, it's not draining that battery. Now, on one of the other things is on these newer trucks. So Dodges and Fords there for a while. We were noticing it with the taller beds. We were having issues with getting trailers to run level and have bed clearance, what we ultimately want. We want both of those things. So you'll notice on maybe some newer trucks, older trailers, we have minimal bed clearance, or the trailer's nosed up and run on that back axle, which we don't want. So the industry standard has been 50-inch gooseneck drop. So this is what we're talking about right here. We've gone in and made this trailer 53, and a lot of these using trailers will do that. Now, it is a case-by-case basis. If we're dealing with an air ride trailer where it lifts at 2.5 inches, something with 17 5-inch wheels, 19 5 wheels, we have a taller box as it is, so it's not as big of an issue. But on this one here, we make this 53 inches. That way we can make this trailer run good and level for us, running on both axles, and have plenty of bed clearance. And then over the last couple years with the new GM body styles, they've gone up 2 inches, 2.5 inches as well. So that way we're just kind of setting these trailers up to where you can back underneath it. We can adjust what we need to. Trailers running level and bed clearance. That's what we ultimately want. So that's something there we've done. Now, typically this is a 4-foot tack room. But over the years, we all evolve, and these trailers have evolved in what the customers want. Everyone's wanted a little bit more tack room, and they also want this ramp going into the tack room as well. And I completely understand. Look, if you have upright show boxes, blower carts, fan carts, anything like that, portable generator, instead of lifting it up and over into those tack rooms, now we've got this ramp going in there. But in order to do that, we had to add a foot of trailer length to this. You need a 5-foot front tack room area for proper bracing to put one of these side ramps on there. So we've gone in, made that 5 foot. Again, we took a 24 footer, made it a 25. That's where you get that extra foot. Stall area is still the same there. But as far as that's concerned here, we've got this ramp that goes right into this tack room. So you can kind of see you've got some floor space in here. You've got the ability to put some items in here. And again, if you want to, you can leave them in here, but you can still kind of operate around a little bit in here. Up in the nose, pretty standard, nothing too crazy. We have the carpet on the gooseneck deck and on the drop wall as well. And then we've got this 4-inch tube that goes across just to kind of secure some items. So if they do shift in transport, they're not falling on the ground itself on this floor area. You've got a closed bar right here, because we understand you're going to be showing off this trailer too. You know, you can send a kid into the tack room, have them change, but that's, again, extra storage. Those are items that maybe you don't have to now put in the back seat of the truck. You've got a little bit more flexibility there. Now on this partition wall, we've carpeted the entire thing, and then we put this airliner track all the way across. It's 36 inches off the ground, but now we can put some hooks in here. So if we want to put that box, those blower carts up against here, we can get those hooks. Honestly, you can go on to Amazon and buy like a pack of 10 for pretty cheap, and then maybe some different styles as well if you want, but then just ratchet strap them down. And then that carpet will somewhat, you know, it'll protect that wall. And then you've got these big hooks up above. Now again, you'll notice these here are a lot taller and deeper compared to the old style hooks that you'd see in a lot of the show trailers. That's because they were just incorporated from the horse trailers. They were using bridle hooks. Well, Cimarron went ahead and developed these. These are aluminum that have been powder coated. But we understand that you have bigger cords, bigger hoses, those type of items that you're looking to actually hang on this. So that's why you see a lot taller hooks and a lot deeper. And the spacing's bigger as well. They used to be really tight, so you'd almost have to use about 3 hooks to get a hose on it, or a big extension cord, to where now, you know, you've got the ability to actually use maybe just 1 hook. And then you see this tray right up above. This tray is actually going to store the plexiglass in the air gaps that we'll show you as well. But you've got an LED light in here. We've opted to go ahead and put a man door on the opposite side, which you'll notice as you're coming out on the ramp there. And the reason why is for safety purposes. I always want a second access point into this tack room if we're dealing with one of these side ramps. And the reason why is if this ramp does get closed and someone was in there, they cannot get out. So we opted for the door on the other side. Sometimes we'll put a door on the pass-through on the actual partition wall so you can go into the stall area. There's some different options there, but this is also nice too, because now this is curbside, that door is street side. So if we get in an emergency situation, we're on the side of the road, maybe you have your tools to change a tire in there, you're away from the street side, the traffic side, you can drop this ramp, and then if you have to, you can actually sneak in through that door as far as that's concerned. We'll look at that when we get to the other side there. You have a 16-inch LED light centered about in between these 2 ramps in the stall area, and then that front tack room. Get you some light coverage there. And then we have this side ramp going into the stall area. So this 20-foot stall area we have, again, 5-foot front tack, making it a 25. But now you've got the ability to load and offload your projects off of this trailer. And then as we come into the stall area here, you'll notice we have 1 center gate. This is a traveling gate. So you'll notice the rail It'll actually go from the partition wall 17 feet back. So a 20-foot stall area. We can now move this gate over about a 17-foot area. We can put it on an upright post every foot. That way you've got some flexibility. You can set up some different stall sizes if you'd like to. But again, just giving you the ability to manipulate and do some different things with these. These traveling gates are fantastic. And right now we've got it set up for 2 stall areas. If you want, it can actually slide ahead of the ramp, having 1 larger stall area. A second gate could be added to this. We actually like running the rail a little bit farther on these trailers just for that purpose. If you wanted to add another gate, you could. But these give you the ability to, if you're maybe hauling a cow-calf pair, maybe you've got a bull, maybe you want to separate some younger heifers from some older heifers type of a scenario, you've got the ability to do that. Now, we opted for the slider on this one with no threshold. So as you notice there, as I walk through, there is nothing for the cattle to trip on. We build them off the floor 6 inches. That way you can bed really good and deep in here. But the no threshold, we can do a couple different versions of this. The slider, you can do a swing gate. We opted for the slider on this one here. You can just mix it up. You can add the other gate with the swing if you'd like to. And I'll show you the ease on how this gate moves. If you want to actually come through here, that way I'll get this across and I'll actually take it up to the partition wall. So it goes around each post. Now where there's a bigger tube, the bigger tubes are where our framework's going to be around, like ramps, doors, wheel wells. So that's where you'll notice the notches on those, and then the other posts are more of a square, so that the hardware actually goes around these. But you have the ability every foot to set this gate. So when I break it loose, it is very, very simple. If you just kind of stay in the middle, good and balanced, it slides that easy. And I can get actually ahead of the ramp. There's a location to store it. That simple and that easy to move. I mean, your younger, smaller kids can actually move these gates. It's nice that they're off the ground a little bit, and the way that the rail system works off the ceiling itself, you can actually manipulate and work that gate forward or backwards and move it if you are bedded really deep in here. You know, those rail styles, boy, you have to be about dead center and perfectly balanced and go really slow. They'll want to kind of bind up on you a little bit, and also typically on this side, if there's a lower rail, they can get full of manure. I mean, there's no doubt about it, and then you got to clean that. So this system's really easy to use as far as that's concerned. So let's talk about a couple other things we have in here. This floor. This is the best floor on the market. This one here we opted for no rubber mats. Rubber mats could be added. You could do worm flooring if you wanted a permanent, unpenetrable rubber matting. It's better to do it when it's brand new. It's actually going to save you a little bit of money, just because, you know, if you use this trailer for a while, they're going to charge you a little bit more to prep it and get it ready as far as that's concerned. But we're standing on the best floor. It's a 12-inch deck, and it's an extruded piece with 4-inch centers. So wherever you have a calf standing on this floor, they're standing on a support beam. You have the strongest upright posts. They're almost a perfect square. They're really, really stout. What the competitors use, a lot of them is a C-channel or a hat channel, you notice, or like this rectangle piece that you'll notice on the roof bows here. Well, if you take a 20-foot stick of this and a 20-foot stick of this, this moves like a pencil. This wobbles like a noodle. So you gain the strength on the sidewalls with the upright posts there. Well, why wouldn't you put that big heavy-duty piece on the roof as well? Well, that's because we're not actually dealing with a sheet of aluminum. We're actually dealing with a lot stronger roof material on these Cimarrons. This is standard. This is their insulated roof that comes on every single Cimarron. Doesn't matter what model it is. That's what they come with. So we don't quite, we don't need that overkill post up there as well. That'll actually stick down a little bit further. We can get away with these bows here. It actually has a bow to it, so it'll get that moisture off the roof. but it keeps this stall area about 20% cooler compared to aluminum sheeted roofs. Now, I'm telling you, it makes a big difference. If you've seen us at some of the junior nationals that we've been to, you know, usually during these summer months, we're usually parked out on the asphalt, you know, somewhere around the show supply trailers, and, you know, it gets really, really hot, and we'll have an easy up tent, but in the afternoons, we'll typically put our chairs in the stall area because it's that much cooler in there compared to even underneath the easy up tents outside. So it does make a big difference for your calves, keeping them nice and cool, or any other projects, whether they're lambs, goats, hogs, even horses, whatever you have, it makes a big difference there. In fact, when they first developed this model, the Stierwalt model, they're building them 6'8" tall. Now we can still build them 6'8" tall, but the thought was, is Kirk wanted them a little bit taller to get that heat away from the cattle. Heat rises. Well, then what he found was, is with this insulated roof and how much cooler it keeps it, we can go down. This one's 6'4" tall, so we're not catching as much wind. It's a little bit lower profile. If you get here in the middle, it's about 6'6". So if you stand right here in the middle of these trailers, get away from the bows, you're actually gaining a little bit as well. But that way we can bring it down, and it does keep them cooler. You also have these two-way roof vents to manipulate some airflow in here, force it down on the cattle. Maybe you are traveling in the winter months, kind of want to get their body heat away from them a little bit. You can reverse them and allow it to just go out of the trailer as well. You've got tie rails. You've got an upper and a lower. So if you're wanting to tie some cattle down, lay down as you're traveling, you can do that. Since this is 8 foot wide, you're going to have, you know, some wheel well on the inside. That's just part of it. But again, you've got kind of a blank canvas in here. If you wanted to go ahead and just bed, you can do that. Add some rubber mats, or you can do some worm flooring again on that type of a scenario there. Now, with it being ordered with just the one traveling gate, there is only one location ahead of the ramp against a partition wall to store that one. So if you added that second one, the first one could stall ahead, but then the second one has to be used somewhere in that stall area. Now, as we get outside, same thing, lower and upper tie rails. So if you're showing off of this, or if you're needing to tie out at this trailer, you can do that. There is a add-on piece that you can get to if you're wanting a little bit more tie rail to tie cattle out. It actually attaches to the current and existing lower tie rail and goes over the wheel well across those wheels right there, and then you've got another bar there to tie to, so you can tie that entire length there. We're looking at two 7,000-pound Dexter rubber torsion axles with electric brakes, 16-inch wheels. We went with the black and silver accent on this one. You probably noticed the black sheeting. We'll show you that when we get to the other side of the trailer as well. But these are nitrogen filled. They're balanced tires. You have a 1-year no questions asked warranty on these tires. If you have a blowout, catch road debris, Lion's Head, the vendor that Cimarron uses, is who you'll go through. You won't actually go through Cimarron on the actual tire warranty. And then you have 2 years of roadside assistance as well. Speaking of warranty, you have an 8-year structure, 3-year hardware on this Cimarron. Now you'll notice that there's 2 upper air gaps and 1 lower air gap. So you have this plexiglass, and I showed you up front there that we have a tray to store it. So you can remove these if you'd like. You can remove a lower, remove all of them. It's completely up to you. But when you do take them out, I do suggest this. It will save a lot of headaches and a lot of frustration. If you take a roll of masking tape and a Sharpie, I like to recommend the customers keep that in that storage tray up there, because when you take out the driver's side, or excuse me, passenger side upper, tape all those together and write on there, and then set them in there. And do the same for each air gap, because it'll save you a lot of time and frustration when you go to put them back in. You're not having to figure out what piece goes where. Now clearly, the narrower go down low, wider go up high, but we have 2 different lengths as far as on this side of the trailer compared to the other, because this side has a ramp, that side has a door that I'll show you. So it's just, believe me, it saves a lot of frustration. Now on the back of the trailer, you'll notice more LED lights. We did 2 8-inch awning lights back here to get you some light coverage as well. And then, since this is 8 foot wide, we have the swing gate and then we have this rear slider. Now, on that rear slider, one thing that we did here is because we have that added width of the trailer, we made this 36 inches wide. Normally that's 32, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but believe me, if you are backed up against an alley, or maybe you're having to jump somebody in and out of this, and we're dealing with big breds, big fat steers, a bull, something along those lines, we want that little bit bigger opening there. Because it's 8 foot wide, we have the ability to do that and then keep the hardware out of the opening. On our narrower trailers, you know, standard width, 6'10" wide, 7'6" wide, it gets a little tricky. You can't quite do the 36-inch wide. You'll end up with the hardware of the gate in the opening, because the gate can only go so far over. But on these, we like to go ahead and do that on these Stierwalt models. If we're doing an 8 foot wide trailer, I mean, we just try to go ahead and option that in there, just so, again, if you're dealing with some alleyways or getting some bigger animals through there, you've got that capability. Now, as we get over to driver's side too, now this is a mill finish. You know, a lot of the Stierwalts that you see out there are going to have the polish, but on the mill finish, you know, this you can acid wash. You know, acid's a lot harsher, so we can't use acid on polish. It'll burn it. You'll have to re-polish the trailer. On this one here, you know, a citrus wash will just give you a good brightener, but every few years a good acid wash will bring it back to looking just like this. There's that escape door that I was telling you about. That's how it changes the lengths of those plexiglass because of the door openings. There's actually tie rails on the door itself as well, so you're not missing out on that when it is shut. And then just ahead of that, there's that door going into that stall area we were looking at. We also opted for a fold-up step. We put a lot of fold-up steps on trailers. I mean, honestly, that's one of the best upgrades that we can put on some of these. I mean, if you think about where we're standing compared to that door frame right there, that lower lip, that's a big step. And again, you're going to be probably maybe taking some younger kids to some shows. You know, by having that step, it's a real easy transition going in and out of this trailer, making life a lot easier. You know, you're usually hauling items in and out of there as well, but it folds right up over it, real simple to use. And then on this one, we did the black sheeting. Again, it ties in well with those black and silver wheels we did on this, and I think it works well with, you know, the plexiglass. I think it just ties in really nicely into this trailer. So again, this is, maybe you're only hauling a couple head, maybe you got a kid on the tail end and you're looking to upgrade, or you got some younger kids starting and maybe you don't need a 30-foot air ride. We carry a lot of those, and those are a really popular option. Maybe you don't need that big of a trailer. Maybe you need something a little bit smaller, and this is a great option for you. So on this one here, I'm going to give you the stock number on it. Again, it's a 2023 Cimarron Stierwalt. Now, this is the Pro Series. Stock number 5N210587. So if you're needing something to go to some of these late junior nationals, go to some of the state fairs, looking at some falls, looking to upgrade, give us a call. This trailer is available today. We can build off of this if you like and do some custom options. We also have some other ones on order, but give us a shout. Our number is 303-684-3400. Thanks for tuning in and have a good day.